Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Tier 2 Spain Grand Prix for round 2. Here, the people wanted to race, so the people shall race. So even with little showmanship and attendance, if the people want to race, the people shall get a race. So, as we wait for qualifying to begin, wait for a start, and here we go. Very few drivers on track for this race, but a bunch of good ones. So who knows what we shall see, but only two teams are eligible for lots of points today, and that is Mercedes and Ferrari. The Ferrari boys very much wanted to race. So if drivers want to race, they want to race, want to be a man of the people. So as we wait for drivers to come out of the pit lane for qualifying, looks like Stark Diaz, the Ferrari, looking to be coming out of the pits. So we will follow along with him once he interesting glitch there with the camera. But we'll watch the, we'll follow along with Stark Diaz here. As he's on an outlap, as we see Golden 2 coming out of the pits, as well as Mursaki. As we lay the groundwork for our qualifying session. It looks to be those three drivers are the only ones out there right now getting ready to do their lap. And here we go. We'll follow along in the TV pod of Stark as he starts his fast lap here in Spain. Braking a little bit later after the 100-meter board. Getting cleanly through turns 1 and 2. Wide on the throttle quickly around turn 3. Braking slight few milliseconds after the 50-meter board on the battery briefly, heading down into third gear. The middle part of sector 2 on the battery. Tighten the chicane. Good exit. On the battery 2. Full throttle going around into the DRS, first DRS zone. An obvious purple sector 2 by the Ferrari driver into third gear in the final flat out portions of this track. Oh, and he spins, putting too much on the battery, and goes for a little spin and heads right back into the pits. Unfortunate to see, but we'll go down to where Golden is. And he ends up hitting in the pits, getting a sign. But Golden finishes his lap time with a 1:13.3 provisional pole. Mursaki takes that over with a 1:12.5. The Mercedes of that's not Doctor. Yeah, Doctor's on. Yeah, that is Doctor. Forstall on a fast lap here. All on TV pod, listening to that lovely, beautiful Mercedes engine. We're going to see George Russell win this season. In 2026, he will be crowned champion this year. I'm calling it right now. I've said it. As we see Solz joining the paddock too. in the McLaren, the team principal himself. Back in Tier 2, heads out onto the track out of the pits, as you can see in the bottom right. Flat out into the first DRS zone, Forrestal. Keeping it close, nice and tidy, clean on the throttle. Lots of revving. Final round, gets on the line, gets a 1:12.5. Bicycle finishing up, takes over Golden with a 13.1. The Mercedes of Doctor crossing the line with a 1:13.7. As you see the Ferrari of Blitz finishing his lap, trying to set some time, puts it up in a P3 with a 1:12.7. Solz here on an out lap. We will follow along with him. The team principal of McLaren himself. Our Intrepid Constructor Champions have multiple World Drivers Champions and won Constructors titles in several tiers in Season 5. What does he have on the track to prove that he is the man? Cuts him into third gear. Going along the wide caution, sector 2. Looks like the Kick Sauber, a bicycle, must have spun. We'll stick with Solz here. Oh, little snap of oversteer there. Or maybe just get out of the way of the Sauber. Trying to recover flat out on the battery. Fighting the chicane. Oh, little lovely there on the curb. Flat out into the first DRS zone. In the slow corner, working the wheel a little bit, but could be the lag. Flat out these final few corners. He will set a time with 1:14.2. Looks like Stark Diaz finishing up another lap after spinning right here. Manages to get himself through. Comes around the final corner. That's a time of 1:13.5 for the Ferrari driver. Here's, we'll take a look at tires too. Briefly. But moving up the order to see Mercedes going on another fast lap here, listening all along on the Red Bull. On the battery briefly, still on the battery too, in the 6th gear, going into 7th. Brakes just shy. He is 400ths up on his time though. Can he improve in sector 2? Going a little wide there and validates the lap. Unfortunate for the Red Bull driver. There's a Ferrari Blitz behind him. Will be the next one to start a fast lap, I believe. As we see the Sauber bicycle coming back out on track. Surprised to see Golden up there at P5, the Alpine driver. Tier 4 driver, too, to keep in mind. I'll say. Love you, Golden, though. We ball, as we say. As the legend and type. But here we go, Blitz. Starting a fast lap here, flat out on the main straight. Brakes in between the 50 and 100 meter boards. Going into turn 1 and 2, flat out turn 3. on the battery. With a Mercedes and a Red Bull. And Mersaky, he is down a 10th. Dude, can he get something to improve his time? As I'm just now realizing, Forrestal and Mersaky are 5 thousandths of a second apart between pole position and P2. Can Blitz wedge his way in there? To the Ferrari driver wanting to make a statement here today. He is down 3/10. Looking right now, he will take provisional pole from Mersaky. Purple sector 2. You add that little bit of oversteer snap. Would that cost him though? Flat out Mersaky improves his time to a 1:12.1. Blitz not able to do it with a 1:12.27. Still improves his time. But Mersaky showing that he is not washed, like his gamertag name. As we see Golden and Forrestal takes it by 200ths of a second away from the Red Bull driver. A little bit of a rivalry going on here between the two drivers. Looking to be a Mercedes Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen duel that we all know and love, the battles that they shared between those two drivers. As Blitz spins off, ramming his front wing, damaging it. But Bicycle not able to improve his time. As the Mercedes of Doctor here down 8/10. Looking to put himself into the 112s, which would put him up into P4. Caution, Sector 2. Looks like the Ferrari just getting out of the way. But Doctor slots himself into P4 with a 112.9. We'll see the Alpine of Golden heading into the pits. Solz down 8/10 on his time, looking to improve. Can he improve? The McLaren team principal coming across the line. Overtakes Doctor. Slots himself into P4 with a 112.861. Impressive lap by the McLaren team principal. Here looks to be a very similar Lando helmet that he is wearing. As we see a Ferrari of Stark Diaz. 2. Looks to be finishing a lap. Didn't improve. Bicycle, though. 2 did improve by 2/10. Seems to be starting to get to the 112. Will we see a 111 here in Spain in the latter half of qualifying? Almost 5 minutes left to go as we see Bicycle going wide in the gravel, going for some lawn care too, and finishes himself. Oh my goodness, what did I just say there? And lands himself into the wall, but able to get it back onto the track. Wow, oh my goodness, that was very... Wow. Cannot believe I just... Wow. I'll leave it at that. But the Red Bull driver of Mersaky coming out of the pits seems to be wanting to reclaim that pole position. Will we see it from him, the only Red Bull driver here to show up? Rocking the 82 driver number. He wants to prove himself that he is not washed, like his username says. But Forrestal, the Mercedes driver, he wanted the glaze. He shall get it. Is looking very rapid out there on track. 2. But Mersaky wants to channel his inner Verstappen, so to speak, and give forth a challenge to the Mercedes driver, as the 2 times both drivers have set within 2, I believe 20, My math is right. 25 hundred thousandths. No, hundredths, I think, of a second between the two drivers. As we'll follow on board with Mercaki. To try and put himself back on pole. Only driver out on track, excuse me. Down a 10th. The Red Bull driver looking very good so far on this fast lap. Flat out into the turn of the first DRS end. All on the battery, braking close. Clean exit, able to get it down. Stays into fourth gear. Ooh, keeps it within track limits. Flat out on the battery too. Lightly off the throttle. It's looking pretty good as he will get himself into the 111s and put himself on provisional pole with a 111.766. As a Ferrari coming out of the pits. Wind up with a Red Bull driver, leaving it all out there on the track. Showing that he is here to mean business. Here today. Stark Diaz is the Ferrari behind him. We'll follow along with him too. But Mercaki making a statement here tonight in Spain. Proving himself to be the best there is tonight. But only time will tell once those 5 red lights come on. But as we see the rest of the grid coming out on track to get their final laps in, we'll follow along with Stark Diaz here, who will be the first one to cross. Warming up the tires is the Ferrari driver, rocking a very nice looking number, to say the least, to himself. Driver very adamant about racing, so if the people want to race, the people shall race. As he too was not the only one. But Mercaki decides to retire in the pits, thinking his time to be fine. Maybe he's just done, but we'll follow along with Stark Diaz here. Keeping an eye too on sector 3 if any of the drivers will miss it. Stark Diaz down 2 hundredths of a second, not enough to improve his position. Not so good look for sector 1. Oh, spins a little bit. Goes for lawn mow care. Gets out of the way of the Mercedes driver of Forrestal, it seems. Forrestal, though, up a 10th. Can he improve his time? Has very limited battery left, though. Comes the cross. He is adding 4 hundredths. Mercaki's time looks to be safe at the moment from Forrestal. But does the driver have something in him? Battery very low, depleted. Coming across the line, DRS wing opens, tries to get across, does not. Cannot snatch the pole position away, but Bicycle here coming across the border may have a chance. Down 3/10, finishes and slots himself into P4. Driver of Solz seems to be the next one to finish across, with Golden right behind him. To wonder how that's affected these drivers' laps. Solz will finish P5. Golden will finish himself in the back of the grid. Blitz will slot himself into P3. Doctor improves up into P5. But that is your grid here today for the Spanish Grand Prix in Tier 2 for Season 6, Round 2. Here in IRL. Getting all the race director information. Seems to be very little of it too. But these drivers adamant about racing. So we shall race. But we'll see who has it in them. Ferrari and Mercedes, though. The Mercedes drivers, that looks to be having a slight edge. Doctor, too, has been performing very well with a race win in Austria in Tier 4. But those two constructors looking to get some bonus points tonight for Spain. As it is a wet race here. Oh my goodness, to add more drama to an already interesting, stellar weekend. We shall see. But who knows? Drivers, if you can hear me, we will ready up at 6:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. But for those watching, any predictions from chat of how the race is going to go? Now that the rain is going on. Doctor not very happy about that. Not very happy at all about the rain. So, but we shall see what happens. What will happen here tonight in Spain as we wait for 6:55 Eastern Daylight Time, but looks to be, as the drivers are ready and raring to go on track. Alright, as we see the 5 red lights. Come on! And away we go here today in a wet Spain. Tonight, as all the drivers get away, I don't know what the camera is doing today, but trying to get a bird's eye view of everybody coming into turn 1. Keeping it nice and clean. Will we see something going on? Every driver keeping it nice and tidy. Ooh, little love contact there between Doctor and Stark Diaz, but Blitz and Forstall duking it out. Bicycle showing why he needs to be here. Battling it side by side with the McLaren team principal. Able to maintain P4, slipping at Solz, trying to get on the inside line. Stark Diaz overtaking the Mercedes driver. As Golden looks to be falling down the order. But these 3 leaders, Blitz, Forstall, and Mersaki, leading the pack. As I'm now realizing that maybe this is a... No, it is not the... I thought this was a formation lap for some reason. I don't know why I was thinking that and why I thought that at first. Well. Because the tire things were coming out, I think, was probably what it was. But here's our position change so far. Here in the opening portions of the Spanish Grand Prix. Watching the drivers too. Little close battle here between Stark Diaz and Doctor here in the opening laps. Both drivers trying to keep it nice and clean in the wet. All drivers seem to be on intermediates right now to Mersaki. As we see the possible strategies here. Those two able to keep it clean. As we'll look at the battles here closer to the front. Forstall not able to make a move on the Red Bull. The Sauber going a little wide there. As we see here too, Stark Diaz defending against Doctor, the Mercedes driver. Both drivers keeping it very close with each other. Here then, as we'll take further look up the pack. Here, but drivers are keeping it clean so far. Here on track, Forstall trying to get something. Okay, I think the audience understands the possible race strategies here, game. But here we are. A gap is starting to form between the top 5 and the rest of the grid. Here in Spain, Golden looking to be catching very close to the Ferrari and the Mercedes of Doctor and Stark Diaz. But keeping an eye on the leaders of this race. Forrestal not very close enough to make a move, it seems. Same thing with the rest of the people in this pack. Keeping an eye on this pack, though, here. But looking to see, Forrestal seems to be very close to Mersaci. Very close, couple tenths away. Is there a possibility to overtake? The two drivers seem to like to go rally car racing to the tail end of Sector 1, the beginning portion of Sector 2. Excuse me. But the Red Bull driver getting away, though, from the Mercedes driver here in Spain in the opening portions. A gap starting to form, though, between the Mercedes and this Red Bull here. Are we seeing little portions of Lewis and Max here? Mersaci sitting at purple Sector 2. As we start to see the dry line starting to form here in Spain. But who knows? We're either going to be in Forrestal overtaking Mersaci with the fastest time. The Mercedes driver still keeping himself close to that Red Bull of Mersaci. Mersaci losing his rears a little bit. Forrestal gaining some traction, getting some grip here on this dry line. Able to maintain traction better as Mersaci has a wild snap. Mercedes driver here trying to think of something. Clearly Mersaci losing his rears. But Solz looking very close to Bicycle. Doctor still attacking Stark Diaz, the Ferrari. You see a lovely bird's eye view of the two drivers, Mercedes and a Red Bull, and the Ferrari in the background, a Blitz wanting to get himself implemented into this fight too. But will we see any possible overtakes? Most likely not from this first group of drivers. Definitely not throughout the grid, but we'll keep an eye here too. Mersaci looking still losing those rears, trying to maintain grip for the two, both of them. Little rally car racing there too in the F1 Formula 1 car. With these drivers not going to back down from this fight. So, Ruben, to answer your question, no, I'm not a. For me, not a big. Me personally, I'm not a big Twitch streamer. I've been streaming them. Been streaming them lately, but I don't know what you mean big. Like if I do it a lot or if I am a bigger one. No, I do it a lot though. On my personal one, I do. But I love commentating for the Intrepid Racing League. Here, it's fun. I love it. I enjoy it. Wonderful hobby of mine. Forrestal going wide, coming out of the corner, final penultimate quarter. As it seems the times are getting quicker. The track drying up. Goodness gracious. Oh, excuse me. Bicycle getting a 3-second time penalty for track limits. here tonight. Oh, the two driver, the Ferrari, a blitz too, trying to go. Mersaki there, trying to keep it close and on track. Forstall looks on the outside. The two drivers going side by side. Will we see a Spain repeat of IRL of George crashing into Max Verstappen? Not yet. Caution, sector 1. But Forstall looked to almost make a move on the Red Bull driver, keeping it very close. The two are. Caution, sector 2. As we see Solz dropping down the order. I don't know if he's fun or something. There's contact between Bicycle and him, but those drivers keeping it close. We'll keep tabs on the top 4, but we'll go back in this bottom 4 as these drivers seem to be very close with each other. Stark, Diaz, and Doctor 2, and there is the Alpine sporting director himself, Golden Sniper. Solz heading into the pits. Looks to maybe have had some front wing damage, possibly. So, but the Alpine driver will maintain in the rear. As Solz decides to retire the car as a DNF. The Doctor trying to maintain close to the Ferrari to try and get more points for Mercedes, as these two constructors. Mercedes had a great start but a rough finish last season. They need to start off strong if they want to get back on to the top in IRL, not just as the constructors. Wonderful driver's shot there of the game. Wow, I've never seen that before, I think, in terms of spectating. Doctor going a little wide there. Coming out as it looks to be the rain starting to clear up. Will we see a switch to hard tires? We'll keep an eye on that. As looks to me the rain clearing up. Some drivers may decide to pit, as there too goes Stark Diaz into the pits to change tires. My guess is he may put on hards. Try and go as fast as he can and go on the mediums. That'd be my initial guess, but we're going to find out here. We'll go to this battle up in front now too, as the grid starts separating. And yes, Stark Diaz opts for the hard tires right now, but will we see a reaction from anybody in the top of the grid? Will any of these drivers decide pit? Ooh, as Forstall going wide. Out heading into the first DRS zone. DRS not activated just yet, but I'm assuming it will here soon. The FIA will allow it. Here, Solz very much done with this game. Seems to me, as looks to me, Stark Diaz, as there's a full-on safety car on track. What happened with Stark Diaz? Rams into the wall, damages his front wing. Slippery out there still, it seems to me. But this is a free pit stop for the rest of the grid to get back on dry tires. The Ferrari driver. Lovely front wing there. As you can see, rammed into turn 2 wall. But everybody getting a free pit stop from this. Stark Diaz, the one to suffer from. It's everybody opting for the hards. We shall see. Ooh, excuse me. From Golden, which tires he will go, as Doctor will opt for the hards. Will the Alpine sporting director opt for the same? And here looks to me, it is the hard tire compound, and it is getting his front wing also replaced too. For that extra time. As we catch up to the rest of the grid here, Forstall here to take the lead here. As we head into the restart. Soon, runner penalties. Bicycle only one. 3-second time penalty through track limits. Your very early portions having lots. Some action going on here too. But Stark with a 10-second time penalty to add insult to injury tonight. As he heads into the pits to... excuse me, my goodness, I'm yawning so much. To opt for the medium tires right now to see if he can try and make something happen to recover for Ferrari. Senzaken may not very happy about that. But Mersacky decides to pit. What is going on? Is he deciding to change to mediums? No, he's putting on fresher hard tires. Maybe to change your front wing? Perhaps, but that was an interesting call by the Red Bull driver. Now that'll put him further down the grid order. As it looks to me, we will not start. Safety car will not be in for a little bit. As you see the top three right there. Dr. Forstall's teammate in the background. As we see Doctor rejoining up the pack here in Spain. But Mercedes looking very strong out here so far in the early portions of the Spanish Grand Prix. Here the Ferrari Blitz warming up his tires very close there to Bicycle. Dude, Blitz his teammate too. Back of the grid. Back of the pack right now. Lots of ground to make up to catch back up with the pack. So we could see the safety car here for a few more laps. Mersacky again deciding to pit. I don't know what he's doing. This is a joke or something. But he is pitting every other lap. For it looks to be just switching, it seems to me. I don't know what he's doing, what he is planning up here. Tonight. Golden too joining the grid too, the top 5 with the safety car. Will we see it come in this lap because the majority of the grid is now, I mean, even though the majority of the grid was 4 out of 7 now that are still driving, but top 5, yes, safety car will be in this lap. We'll follow along the TV pod of Forstall here, who will start the pace. Blitz, Bicycle right behind him too, and you see Doctor and Golden in the background too, waiting for the restart here from the Mercedes driver. Driver biding his time. Forstall and decides to take it off. Ooh, a little bit of oversteer from Blitz, and the Sauber leaving a great getaway for the Mercedes. Driver Doctor able to overtake Bicycle 2. Heading into turn 1, Bicycle trying to look for the re-overtake, not able to get it right here. Somehow, somebody caution sector 1, Doctor going wide. And the turn Bicycle looking very close on 2. Very wide is Bicycle, leaving the inside open 4. Golden not able to make a move is the Alpine driver. The Sauber driver still going wide. Golden trying to make a move and makes it. As we see from the rear of Doctor. The Alpine driver trying to make some ground here up in P4 to try and snag a podium for Alpine here. Will he be able to do it? I don't know. Forrestal getting away out of DRS range of the Ferrari car of Blitz. Blitz wanting to make sure he stays within that DRS range to make sure he can stick with him and Forrestal doesn't get away from him. But we should see another pit stop here, though. Hopefully around the mid to early 20s. Cool drivers, we'll see. Maybe we'll see a hard tire pit stop, or maybe a probably from Stark Diaz. After a while, trying to go to the end, just get some ground and get back up there. But everybody else here in the top 5 possibly may go into mediums. We'll see how this shakes up. But DRS still not enabled yet. Interesting. Mercedes setting the fastest lap here in the hards. But a Doctor keeping very close to the Alpine driver of Golden. As the track drying up to caution sector 1. Looks like the Red Bull driver, though, of Mercedes is clearly catching up to Bicycle, who has been struggling briefly here. But the Mercedes driver of Doctor trying to retake that podium position away from Golden. You see Forrestal there in the background. Here up ahead. Trying to maintain and keep up with the pack. Forrestal pulling away a little bit. Ooh, for Golden going a little wide there. DRS is enabled. Caution sector 1 looks to be Stark Diaz still struggling now, but Doctor is within DRS range. He's very close. Within a 10th, Doctor with the fastest lap. 2 side by side is the Alpine driver. Both DRS activated. Doctor makes the overtake. Slots himself into P3. Mercedes looking very close too, and getting ever so closer to Bicycle. Follow along with the Alpine sporting director driving for the French team. Seeing a new angle every single time on this broadcast. Fish mode. Blitz is within DRS range, though, of Forrestal. To very close, in fact. Within 5/10. Will we see a new leader? Can Forrestal hold him off? Get away. Still keeping on the tires. We'll go back to position changes here across the race. But Mercedes dropping down the most right now, as he was on pole. Driver acting DRS. Blitz trying to catch up to the Mercedes driver. Looks to be gaining ever so slightly. Can he do something here? Mercedes setting the fastest lap with a 1:23.2. Ferrari driver trying to stick to Forrestal here. Rocking Emperor Palpatine's favorite number, executing order 66. He will try and do against Forrestal. Very counterintuitive, though, as Forrestal's in a Mercedes, if you understand those references. But close enough. He is for DRS. That was not meant to sound like Yoda, but will he activate it? He does. I don't know why I'm trying to hide the UI like that. But still very close. Golden ever so slightly out of the DRS range, though, of Doctor. Close by Mercedes, though, within DRS range of the Kick Sauber, a bicycle, the Ferrari driver. Everybody becoming the fastest man on track. Blitz trying to get as close to Forrestal as possible to maybe make a move for something, but keeping an eye on this battle back here. Mercedes going for the move on the inside, makes the overtake. Cleanly on the Sauber driver. Saving his battery. Oh, the Sauber driver going a little wide there, but we'll go back up to the front after that battle. Two Blitz trying to keep up with the Mercedes for Ferrari. These Ferrari boys 1 point, but Mercedes looking for a double podium, is looking at a double podium right now. Unless something major happens to the Mercedes driver, as Blitz getting right close up to the gearbox of Forrestal, within 4/10 now, almost 5, slowly backing down on the battery, though. Who has more? Looks to be Forrestal having the most. Blitz trying to stay within the slipstream of the Mercedes. It's going to be close. They dive in. He does not make the move in the overtake. Caution sector 3. The Sauber, a bicycle, looks to be off track, taking a spin on the main straight. But Bliss trying to stick with Forrestal, almost able to make the move into turn 1. Yeah, Toasty. Thin lobby. But people wanted to race, so we'll let them race. As we see the wonderful side view camera shot again. Blitz still within DRS range of the Mercedes driver, maintaining within the slipstream, trying to do something. His teammate, though, will start Diaz up ahead. Will we see a possible teammate, team order, Stark Diaz trying to slow the Mercedes driver down briefly so Blitz can possibly make an overtake? I don't know, but Blitz on the battery too. Forrestal has more. The Ferrari driver looking close. Looks, but does not decide to go for the overtake. The two drivers keeping it nice and tidy, though. The Ferrari and the Mercedes will stick to the TV pod of Blitz for now, as this battle for the lead heats up, and the other drivers trying to get closer to these two. Doctor, good 3 seconds. The golden 3 seconds of him. Versace, excuse me, slowly working his way back up, getting within around the 2 second mark between Golden. Will we see an overtake soon for the Red Bull driver as Blitz looking close to onto Forrestal. Keeping it close and tidy are the two. Forrestal going slightly wide, leaving some room and opportunity for the Ferrari. Ferrari, little snap. Blitz, can he recover? Still able to maintain DRS range. Forrestal still has ever so slightly more battery being able to maintain and defend the position. Mersaky looking very close too. Golden out of battery to defend the Red Bull driver. But keeping a close eye on the two leaders here in Spain as we head into lap 19 in the beginning portions of midway portions now of lap 19 here in Spain, Barcelona. We'll also see I believe it's Madrid this season too in real life on the calendar. See that track added as we see Blitz looking on the outside to make a move going into the turn. Side by side are the two drivers. Going in Forrestal, able to maintain position, defending brilliantly is the Mercedes driver. He has all of his battery too. Blitz trying to do something to maintain, maybe make the possible overtake here in a change of lead. Fast sets the fastest lap with a 129. Doctor overtaking that, makes the overtake cleanly on the inside. As we have a new leader, Blitz. Forrestal, though, not backing down from a fight. Is the Mercedes driver, but Blitz trying to make the best recover for the team. But the Silver Arrows still have a double podium, but will Blitz be able to maintain this for long as we see Forrestal getting so close to Blitz? Golden too, trying to stay close to Mersaky. Mersaky wanting to pull away to get back in the battle and fight for a podium for Red Bull. That's the Ferrari driver on the battery though, having less. Forrestal though looking into the inside. The two go side by side. Ooh, don't know if there was any contact there, but Blitz able to maintain his lead ever so slightly as he comes across his teammate. We will see a blue flag here for the Ferrari driver. Do as he does as Forrestal decides to head into the pits, leaving the Ferrari driver to maintain the lead going into lap 21. What's 9 plus 10, chat? If you get that reference, you should know that reference. What's 9 plus 10? Mersaky, fastest lap. Forrestal deciding to pit. Doing the early 20s. Going for a new set of hards for the Silver Arrows driver. But we'll keep an eye. Oh, excuse me. On the tires here now, as we kind of are in a similar tire pit window. But looks to be a close battle. Oh no, that's just Stark Diaz overtaking not Stark Diaz, Mersaky overtaking the Ferrari driver, and Doctor here sitting in P2, and Mersaky in P3 for the final podium position. So both Ferrari and Mercedes don't have the opportunity for a double podium as of right now. Mercedes looking more likely, though, to have that opportunity if Forrestal can come back. But we shall see with the pits, with these pit stops. Will we see anybody pit this lap? None from the top three. None from Golden. Golden decides to stay out. Doctor, Forrestal's teammate, decides to make the call to stay out on track. As this is Forrestal. Forrestal didn't pit. Okay, see, what are you thinking? But Bicycle struggling here on the mediums, trying to go for a lawn care service, it looks. The two drivers, the rest of the grid, pitching close. Forrestal trying to catch back up to the grid. Golden 2. Mersaky trying to catch up to Doctor to maybe steal some points from Mercedes. 2. And how long will Golden, Meraki, Doctor, and Blitz stay on these hard tires too, as tire wear is definitely going to start playing into a factor and could play into Forrestal's hand here. Trying to improve caution. Sector 3 looks to be Bicycles going to DNF and bow out of the race today. So Ferrari will finish. Stark Diaz can finish in that, as sorry, heard something outside. Doctor with a 3-second time penalty, though, for track violations. That could shake up the grid. The finishing order, too. Meraki already slotting himself into P2 right now because of that penalty. Doctor needs to start pulling away by more than 3 seconds if he wants to maintain that second place podium position. 2 already are guaranteed a podium, unless Golden can make his way into this battle between, or the closest sniff battle to say the least, between the Red Bull and the Mercedes driver before people decide to pit. Blitz decides to stay out. The Mercedes driver does decide to pit. Meraki decides to stay out. Golden, will he pit or will he stay out? He will stay out. Almost faking me out there, looked like, from him. But the 2 Mercedes driver pitting early. So, and Stark DS2 will pit, most likely for the hards. Doctor going for the mediums. But Golden with the podium position right now, finishing up the podium position. Forrestal right behind him, though. Starkey is opting for the sauce. Interesting. So maybe I don't know if he's just trying to go for fastest lap or whatever, but Golden under threat here from Forrestal. Forrestal will have DRS and does have lots more battery. Golden, very minimal battery, trying to defend with all his life. Gets the driver not making the move. Forrestal, but trying to take the quickest line. The 2 drivers side by side. Alright, so the Golden going off the pit wide, leaving afternoon for Forrestal to take P3 and snatch away that podium position from the driver. That might be Golden's time to pit, and he does decide it is time to pit. Doctor, though, on the fresh mediums. Meraki and Blitz, the only 2, and Golden. Or no, Golden is pitting right now, but Blitz and Meraki, the 2 drivers that still need to pit. It looks to be, if they decide, and Meraki going very wide, blowing up some of the signs. There too, tire wear really becoming a factor for the Red Bull driver. But he may react to Blitz, because Meraki does have the 1 lap fresher tires right now. But will we see the Ferrari driver Blitz pit this lap? He decides to stay out. Does the Red Bull driver decide to go for the undercut? He decides not to and decides to stay out on track. But Mercedes looking very good in the constructors right now. If these results stay the same. Forrestal, fastest lap. 2. Blitz and Meraki could be trying to make him last the rest of the race, but that might be a feat and a half. Stark Diaz, though, struggling out there today on the main straight. On the main straight, excuse me. In the first DRS straight. the Ferrari driver, Blitz. Will we see him pit this lap? Staying a fourth gear on the battery, though. Maybe not. He decides to stay out for a little bit more, a little bit longer. Mercedes, too, opting to stay out. Golden with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. The Red Bull and the Ferrari driver might be playing some mind games here between the two. Seeing who will playing shitkin to see who will pit first. Are we seeing some of that here between the two leaders? Who knows? Only time will tell. But lots of the drivers are spread out. And they still decide to stay out. For a bit longer, they must be trying to tire save Forrestal. Will he be able to catch up and maybe overtake Murasaki's position in the track? Murasaki trying to catch up to the Ferrari driver as much as possible. Seems to be pushing as much as he can. Are they still trying to tire save as much as possible? They must be. The Ferrari driver still decides to remain out. Murasaki, too, decides to stay out. But Forrestal, who is on a lot fresher tires, moving very quickly. It's another fastest lap of a 1:15.2. Trying to get ever so closer to Murasaki as possible, but the Red Bull driver trying to maintain pace and catch up to the Ferrari, but with only 4 laps to go, will something come of that? Is that enough time for the Red Bull driver to do something with this? But only time will tell, as Blitz still decides to stay out and continue to tire save. Murasaki decides to stay out and tire save too. All the drivers are really spread out, chat. To be quite honest, Forrestal, though, looks to be catching some ground, though. Within 5 seconds between him and Murasaki, with 3 laps remaining. Is there a chance we may see a possible another overtake in this race? But we shall see. Forrestal pushing. Excuse me. Had to sneeze there for a second. Ooh. Will we see Forrestal pushing as much as he can, looking very rapid here on track. Trying to catch up to the Red Bull driver, but will his tires be able to maintain to keep the tire age on though? Mercedes driver within 4 seconds now of the Red Bull driver, making up solid ground. As you see the Red Bull there of Mersacky slowly dropping too. The tire wear is catching up to the Red Bull driver. Mercedes trying to get as much points as they can as possible. Forrestal thinks he can do it. Now within 3.5 seconds. Less than. Forrestal pushing with as much as he can to catch the Red Bull. As I know I've said multiple times. Trying to think of things to say. He is 3 seconds now, a little greater than 3 seconds, 3.2 now, between the Red Bull. Now through these turns, Doctor setting a fastest lap. The Mercedes driver trying to get back within 3 seconds. And he is within 3 seconds of the Red Bull. Mersacky starting just to hold on though, but with 1 lap remaining, is this enough time for Forrestal with this amount of battery to do it? The Red Bull driver does have a lot more battery than the Mercedes. So, but we'll stick to the TV pod here of Forrestal for the remainder of the race to see if he can make some magic happen by pitting early and securing a P2 for the Silver Arrows. Battery very, very low. Mersacky still having more battery. But as we head into the final lap, the Ferrari Blitz leading this race. As Forrestal within 2 seconds of the Red Bull. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know though. Forrestal has his battery fully depleted, leaving opportunity for Mersacky to try and pull away with the battery. Forrestal though gaining ever so slightly more and more onto the Red Bull, close to 1 second. Will he be able to, will Forrestal have the opportunity to do an overtake here in this DRS straight on the pressure hard tire? He is not within DRS range just yet, but he is very close. The detection zone though is coming very close. He is within DRS range. Will he get it? He does get it. Within on the battery, within 0.6 between him and the Red Bull. Not able to make his move, but keeping it very close to Blitz there up ahead, the leader. Extra drama in the final lap here in Spain. Started with rain. Battles between these three. Forrestal trying to make a move, but Blitz will win the Spanish Grand Prix. Mersacky hangs on to P2. Forrestal P3. Those are your podium drivers here. Doctor finishes in P4. Golden will finish in P5. But your race winner, a Ferrari. The Ferrari Blitz here has won today in Spain. And maybe we'll see this in real life in Melbourne. Will we see Lewis or Charles Leclerc be able to make some magic happen? The Ferraris looked very quick in Bahrain preseason testing, but we'll find out next weekend finally, because I've been dying to see some action here. Formula 1 action. But boys, you did. That was a fun little race there at the end, if you can hear me. But Blitz, your race winner here today in Spain. As I do not know if I'm going to be able to get... here, podium celebrations. Here, you see the Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes driver. Interesting to see the Netherlands flag on a Mercedes team there, Forrestal. Just had to say that. But look at the podium. Lovely podium celebrations between the drivers. Oh, you love to see it. But those are your driver of the day, fastest lap race winner, most overtakes. There too between the drivers. Look at the race director too, pit stops, incidents, and actual pit stops. That's just the drivers and their pit stop strategies, what this was. So, but Golden, Stark, and Bicycle opted for all the tires. It seems Mercedes tried to go for the hard too, for some odd reason like that. But your race winner, Blitz, Mercedes, and Forrestal finish your podium. Dr. Golden, Stark, Diaz, Bicycle, and Solz round out your top 8 tonight here in Spain. But we'll see you tomorrow night for Tier 1 racing to wrap up our round of Spain here in IRL. But we will see you tomorrow night for Tier 1.